Alright everybody, I'm here with another video of me being an idiot. I just filmed that other video for my metal, whatever the hell, explanation. My metal journey, whatever the hell. And I felt like filming another one. But yeah, so I switched the music up. And it's we're listening to Agony's something Apocalypse. Hold up. What's the damn thing? Apocalyptic Dawning. Agony. Canadian progressive tech death. My opinion puts Cryptopsy to shame. And you see right there I got my Nunce Vile flag. I like Cryptopsy and I think this is better than Cryptopsy. And yeah, just don't own the CD. Shit's expensive. So whatever. So I hopped on this bandwagon real quick. Saw a bunch of the people that I watch show this one here. So I decided to do it as well because it's a good idea. So 13 Stone Cold Classic Black Metal albums. Got a mixture of everything here. It's not really any organization besides the 4 tapes that I got, and then the rest is all CDs. So first one on the show is Nocturnal Mortem's album, Lunar Poetry. Lunar Poetry's Nocturnal Mortem's, I believe, second, maybe third demo. I'm a huge fan of Nocturnal Mortem, and everything that they've ever done is pretty much pure gold. But I chose this one out of all of them because this is the most classic. It is the most raw form of Nocturnal Mortem, and I believe the most raw and real Nocturnal Mortem. Everybody knows this demo. Super keyboard heavy, perfect winter landscape album. If you have not listened to this, click off this video right now and go listen to it as we speak. Or without me speaking, go listen to it. That's what I'm trying to say here. But yeah, Nocturnal Mortem is a Stone Cold classic, 100%. Next, you gotta put this band in here. These are all pretty basic bands, but Immortals album, Pure Holocaust. What do I even have to say about this one? The Sun No Longer Rises. That's all I have to say to you about Pure Holocaust. The rawest Immortal, where it sounds probably the most coherent, most cohesive sound as far as raw goes. Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism was probably a bit more raw than Pure Holocaust is. But Pure Holocaust is a much more well-done and well-written record, I would comfortably say. Abith does the drums. This gentleman was not on this album. He just joined later. But Abith Demonez, and I forgot that other dude's name. But, yeah. The Sun No Longer Rises. You know all these songs, I'm sure. Great stuff. Gates of Eternity Open. Immortal, Pure Holocaust. Also another Stone Cold classic. This one, the album in itself is iconic enough. The album cover. Transylvanian Hunger, Dark Throne. How do you question that? Look at that. That looks so good. This is an album that just looks like it belongs on tape. Transylvanian Hunger is nothing to question as far as classic goes. So many bands have stolen this as the template for their own band. And that in itself is enough of a classic to justify it being on here. I could have put any of the Unholy Trinity on here, even Panzerfaust as well, but I believe that this is the most classic as far as black metal goes. Probably one of the most classic albums in black metal ever. I mean, look at it. Think of how many bands have looked at this art and been like, wow, I'm going to copy that directly. So, Transylvanian Hunger. Next, probably not my favorite Burzum album, but the one that I wanted to show because I've seen multiple videos where they show Philosophem. But I wanted to do this one. Hivis Lacetar Os. Arguably the first actual atmospheric black metal album. This really 4 long songs coming into approximately 40 minutes. Not actually, but approximately. But Hivis Lacetar Os is pretty much one of the most classic Burzum records, I would say. I mean, the song Dissection Barn here is considered to be the best Burzum track by more than one person, obviously. Not my favorite, but great Burzum album. Had to show a different one, just because, you know, gotta stray away a little bit. Next, another one that nobody's shown yet, by a band that everybody's shown. This is Blood, Fire, Death by Bathory. My personal favorite Bathory album. Hold up, my chair is not centered correctly. There we go. Blood, Fire, Death by Bathory. My opinion, the best Bathory album. The first one with the Viking theme. I honestly don't think it gets any better than this when it comes to this band. I mean, A Fine Day to Die, probably the best Bathory song. Holocaust, that black thrash stuff's killing it. The Golden Walls of Heaven, For All Those Who Died. Every song on here is gold. And in my opinion, this is the most classic. Maybe Under the Sign of the Black Mark would be my second, and Hammerheart probably I couldn't put on here because it's not very black metal. This one. Next is Storm of the Light's Bane by Dissection. Some people wouldn't show this. I'm going to because what the hell? My video. Storm of the Light's Bane. Everybody knows this one. Almost chose Somber Lane, but this is a lot more of a classic, you know. Somber Lane's definitely classic. It's like comparing Tomb of the Mutilated and Butchered at Birth as far as death metal classics go. They're both classic. It's just one's a bit more stereotypical than the other, and this is the more stereotypical. Yeah, there's not much I need to say about this other than everybody knows this. I mean, Where Dead Angels Lie is a pretty big song. Night's Blood's definitely my favorite track on here, so Dissection. Next, more of a modern classic, but a classic nonetheless. An album that I guarantee a lot of people will agree with me is a classic album, even though it's not super old. This came out in 2009, or at least the pressing's from 2009, but this is Drowning the Lights and Alignment of Dead Stars. This is widely considered the greatest Drowning the Light release, and I also agree with that claim. This is definitely the pinnacle of Drowning the Light's career, in my opinion, and nonetheless a modern classic of the old school style, mildly depressive, super melancholic. I mean, probably my favorite song on here is Drinking the Sacrament of Eternity. The punky sound, you know, dragged to an ocean grave. It's also another classic. Next, also another classic that I haven't seen anybody talk about yet, but nonetheless I've heard so many people talk about in videos that do not pertain to this style. But this is one of my favorite black metal albums ever. This is Have a Haze album, Dethrone the Son of God. House Headbangers Pressing. Everybody knows this record. I mean, everybody knows this is probably one of the most absurdly blasphemous albums ever. So unnecessarily blasphemous, but it's nonetheless, it's a classic album by Mr. Paul Ledney, who has not ceased to produce great music. And look at that art. That's so goofy. Everything about this album is awesome. Check it out. Next, yet another modern classic. Because everybody loves this band, if they aren't a bitch at least. The vocals are awesome, in my opinion. People who don't like the vocals, I understand, but this is Ominous Doctrines of the Prepeternal Mystical Macrocosm by Inquisition. It's a modern classic album. This has been talked to death. One of the coolest digipacks I own. Everybody knows this one. You can't argue with me that this is not a modern classic black metal album. And I feel like that is so necessary to say because this band deserves all the recognition they get. They're just great. Everything they do is awesome. Inquisition. Ominous Doctrines of the Prepeternal Mystical Microcosm. Next is another one that I haven't heard anybody talk about. Probably because it's more on the Viking side of things. But this is Hostmark or something. I don't know. That's how I've heard people say it. Sorry for my terrible accent. Isengard. Or as Fenrir calls it, Isengard. Classic album. Mostly clean vocals, also harsh vocals as well. Also comes with the commentary, but that's besides the point of the album. This is a great black metal release. Fenrir can do no wrong in my personal opinion. He's not put out a shitter ever. Even Goat Lord's awesome. If you haven't listened to Isengard, do so immediately. And another one, live album, the only live album on this whole list. But that being said, you know what it is as far as classic goes. Live in Leipzig by Mayhem. One of my favorite black metal albums ever. Everybody knows this one. You gotta know it. I'll be very disappointed in you if you do not. Everybody knows this. Funeral Fog, or Freezing Moon, oh my lord, is iconic. The intro, Buried by Time and Dust, you know, Carnage, Chainsaw Guts Fuck, everybody, Pagan Fears, everybody knows it. Next is another classic, in my personal opinion, as far as raw black metal goes. Definitely just any black metal in general, but specifically raw. This is Black Millennium, Grimly Reborn by Mutilation. French black metal legends, legendary band. I can't get over how legendary this stuff is. Everybody worships this for good reason. Some people hate on Mutilation. I don't want to show that part because that might get me flagged or something stupid like that, but I was going to show you the inner disc, but you've seen it, I'm sure. If you have it, and if you don't, go pick it up. I don't know if the art says I'm in another pressing. This is the newer pressing, so out on Dark Adversary, but everybody knows this. I mean, the New False Prophet, the Hanged Priest, Curse My Funeral. Everybody knows this one, Mutilations, Destructive. And the last one I'm going to show for this video, because I'm going to keep with the tradition of just 13 albums, or else I could have thrown at least 15. I had 2 that I put away because I didn't want to. Before I say anything, I was going to do Rabid Death's Curse by Watain and Los Hivers de Nord Epoch by Fortress were the other 2. But this is Dark Medieval Times by Satyricon. My favorite is Nemesis Divinia. I don't have the CD because I just haven't gotten around to getting it yet, but I chose this one as my second choice. This is a classic. It is one of the most medieval sounding in a unintentional, I mean, obviously intentional because the album's called Dark Medieval Times, but it's one of the most medieval sounding albums, I would say, in Norwegian black metal specifically. Into the Midnight Forest is probably the best track on here, I'd say. It's kind of hard to pick a favorite track with an album like this, just like the Burzum albums or the Dark Throne albums. All these classic, all these classic albums that are put on a pedestal. It's hard to pick one single track that's your favorite on here, but I would probably say that one. So, Satyricon. And that's all 13 of these, you guys. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I continue to keep looking forward for more of these videos. So I hope you liked my addition to the trend. So yeah, keep it greasy.